All right. What's up? The results should be okay. So this is what's happening. The Iowa results last night obviously were delayed. I'm gonna have a separate video breaking down all the issues with that. But basically, we should be getting 50% of the official results from the Iowa Democratic Party in about 10 minutes. I'm gonna have this on screen here. So New York Times, this should automatically update once we get the results in, but it'll also be on Twitter just to make sure I'm not missing anything. Because this whole thing has been crazy. There's just like, as I'm going to discuss in the video that I do on this for tomorrow, this doesn't happen in Canada. Now, maybe other democracies have problems with this, but we've never, as far as I know, in my lifetime, we've never had serious issues with the voting system, with being able to vote and counting votes. Like, this is not a problem in democracies, only in America. And as people have pointed out multiple times, if this happened in a Latin American country, America would be invading them right now. Like, it is crazy how much of a failure your institutions are. I will respond. I'm hearing super chats, so I'll respond to super chats to pass the time over the next 10 minutes until these results come out. Yes, just to respond to Anthony, which I just saw right now. Says, report by Intercept say Pete campaign funded the app. So Pete Buttigieg's campaign, this is actually partially spoiling the story I'm doing tomorrow. But let me bring up this information if I can find it. I wouldn't say his campaign funded the app, but his campaign gave money to the app company, as well as Biden's campaign and Gillibrand's campaign. Like, I don't know why. Here it is. I don't know exactly what the money was for. God, so many ads on Forbes. Okay, let me. So this thing here, big number, 60. Let me zoom in. Can't even zoom in because of all the ads. Okay. $63,000. That's how much the Iowa Democratic Party paid Shadow, which is the developer of the app, according to the Wall Street Journal. Other Democratic candidates have also used Shadow for campaign work. According to the FEC, Buttigieg paid Shadow $42,500 for quote-unquote software rights and subscriptions. What that actually means, who knows? Both Joe Biden and former contender Kirsten Gillibrand paid Shadow for campaign work, $1,200 from Biden and $37,400 from Gillibrand. Again, what is this for? Now, I'm not going to... I honestly don't think this has anything to do with the issues. I think the issue is that the 6 people that made this app, this is a startup company that was started like a year ago. The company that made the app screwed up. I think that's ultimately what happened. But this still shouldn't be allowed. Like, even if simply because of the appearance of potential corruption, this shouldn't be allowed. So it is insane to me. Like, the idea that in Canada, say, Andrew Scheer gave Elections Canada, or whoever in this scenario is controlling our elections, would give the election company like $50,000, like, is crazy. It's crazy. Like, this is insane. How this is not headline news. Like, I saw Pete Buttigieg was on MSNBC or CNN today. He wasn't asked about this. How is this not the first question you bring up? Your campaign gave $40,000 to this company. What did they do for you? Why did you give them that money? Like, again, even though I don't think this has anything to do with the issues, this should be a question that you obviously pose to the campaigns. The whole thing is nuts. All right, let me get to more. I want to get through these super chats before we see the results. Let me pull this up. Also, it'll be let me play this first. It'll be interesting to see how the official results compare to the results that were presented by the Bernie Sanders campaign. Didn't I save this link? Hold up. Okay, here we go. So thank goodness for spitting back on Twitter. So these were the results that were shared by the Sanders campaign, who clearly had their crap together a lot better than the Iowa Democratic Party did. They had people in each precinct collecting the information.
And why there has some information on the election results. Jeff?
This is reporting.
Hello, everybody. We have, in the interest of transparency, I know there's a tremendous amount of interest in the results, even though there's been no official tallies yet. Based on self-reported totals from precinct captains across a representative sample of Iowa precincts, accounting for 60% of the anticipated precincts, the results that we have currently are in the first round total, Senator Sanders with 29.08, Mayor Buttigieg with 21.63, Senator Warren with 19.51, Senator Klobuchar with 12.27, and Vice President Biden at 12.04. Post realignment, those numbers are Senator Sanders 29.4, Mayor Buttigieg 24.87, Senator Warren 20.65, Vice President Biden 12.92, and Senator Klobuchar 11.18. Again, these the spreads in these results have been pretty consistent all through the night. By the time we had about 15% these results have held across all the reporting. So we anticipate that this will hold probably till the end of the process.
All right. So just to reiterate, that was from their collecting of the data, the Sanders campaign, with 60% of them, 60% of the precincts reporting in. So first round, Bernie has a big lead there, and then it shrinks a little bit when Buttigieg jumps up in the realignment, but he still has a comfortable lead here, with Biden in fourth, Klobuchar last, Warren third. So we're going to have to wait and see how this compares. I'm seeing now, from checking Twitter, that there is going to be, appears to be a live stream of this, of the results coming in.
Good afternoon, and thank you all so much for...
Oh, nice. Let's freeze the video right as it's starting.
To chat a little bit about what happened last night. The reporting of the results and circumstances surrounding the 2020 Iowa Democratic Party caucuses were unacceptable. As chair of the party, I apologize deeply for this. Last night, we were faced with multiple reporting challenges and decided, out of an abundance of caution, to protect the integrity of the Iowa caucuses and their results by taking the necessary steps to review and confirm the data. A thorough, transparent, and independent examination of what occurred yesterday will follow. But let me be clear. My number one priority has been on ensuring the accuracy and integrity of the results. And we have been working all night to be in the best position to report results. And here, in just a couple of minutes, we will be reporting 62% of precincts from all 99 counties. The bottom line is that we hit a stumbling block on the back end of the reporting of the data. But the one thing I want you to know, we know this data is accurate. And we also have a paper trail and documentation that have been able to use to provide information to help verify the results. This is personal to me. I'm a lifelong Iowan. I have caucused for 20 years. And I know how important it is to our party, to our state, and to everyone, from our neighbors to new voters, to be able to come together all across this state. We want Iowans to be confident in the results and in the process, and we are going to take the time that we need to make sure that we do just that. So I know folks are going to want to be seeing the results as they come in, but I'm happy to take a couple of quick questions before that happens.
How can anyone trust you now?
We have been working day and
Good
night
question.
to make sure that these results are accurate. The one thing I will say is that the underlying data, the raw data, is secure. It was always secure. This was a coding error in one of the pieces on the back end, but the raw data, the data that has come in, is secure, and I can assure Iowans of that.
That is true. Just to point that out, that is true.
Do you worry it could cost you your first in the nation status?
They have a paper trail, so this should be solid
The
information.
fact is that this is a conversation that happens every 4 years. There's no doubt that that conversation will take place again. But right now, my focus is making sure that we get these results out. We are going to continue to do that, and we will have the results out as soon as we can. Jeff. Well, we're going to take the time we need to get these results done. Now that we have the first batch that's going to be coming out here in a couple of minutes, we're going to continue to go through our processes, verifying everything. But the thing to remember here, folks, is that we have a paper trail. We have always said all along that throughout this process, that we have backups to this system, that we have redundancies built in. And one of the ways that we do that is through the paper trail. Now, the fact is that as we started doing this last night, it took longer than we expected. And so, but my paramount concern is making sure that these results are accurate and reflect what happened last night in caucuses across the state. We're going to do just that, and we're going to take the time we need to do that.
When was the app submitted for review by an independent third party? Why was the app never tested statewide? And why did the Iowa Democratic Party deny the Department of Homeland Security's offer to test the app?
I have no knowledge of the Department of Homeland Security making that offer to us. I will say that we have worked with cybersecurity experts, nationally renowned cybersecurity experts, to test this app and to do testing and security checks on this app. We took the steps we felt was necessary, but we found a coding error last night once we discovered some irregularities as the results started to come in. Yeah.
But why was it never tested?
What's that?
Were there any coding discrepancies during the third-party testing?
No, there weren't, and that's why what happened last night is simply unacceptable. And so, again, we're going to have a thorough and independent review of exactly what happened last night. Right now, we're in the process of making sure that we get these results out, and that's what we're going to stay focused on. Yeah.
Okay, let's get the results now.
Yeah.
It's 5:01. Let's get the results.
We have said all along that we were going to make these caucuses the most transparent possible. This year, we're reporting out more data than we ever have reported before. And in addition to that, we have paper trails that we've never had before. And so we're going to take the time we need to verify these results, but these results are being based off what happened in the precincts last night.
Let's get good.
When I ran for chair, I made a commitment to see the caucus process through. That is what I am working on. That is what I will continue to work on. And whatever happens after that is to be determined. Anyways, thank you all, folks. The results are coming in. We will see you later.
Coming in on screen. What's happening? Results.thecaucuses.org. Okay, still says 0.
Scrum.
I'm going to keep this open in case something happens, but let's watch this, because these are where the results should be coming in. So let me go back to being big. All right. So the results should be coming in here. Any minute now. All right, while we're waiting, let me grab some super chats. I'm going to have to find a way to read this while not missing when the results come in. Wait. No results till after 7 p.m. Central? Isn't that in an hour? Or 3 hours? Right, let me get to super chats and then we'll figure out what the hell's going on. Zach Finley says, hey, special coverage part 2, I'm here. Awesome. Welcome, Zach. Brandon Mills says, why is Robbie Mook, Clinton's campaign manager, in charge of the Iowa voting app security? So apparently that isn't the case. There was it was going around on Twitter that Robbie Mook had to do with that app. Then I saw reporting come out later that no, actually he doesn't have anything to do with it. At the same time, there are still former Clinton staffers that did work on the app. So yeah, those wouldn't be the people I would hire for the elections app, but that's who ran the company. Also, the same app they plan to use in Nevada. No, so Nevada has now said that they will not be using this app for their caucus. But if you remember how the Nevada caucus happened last time, there was so much insanity and confusion when it was going on. Let's hope they evolve their process somehow, but clearly using this app would not have been a solution. Lower this a little bit. This is really annoying now. Noise. Okay. Anthony P, I got to your super chat earlier. Praveen Govindan says, gives me a super chat with a thumbs up. Thank you. Ocean says paper ballots make too much sense. DNC. Yeah. Well, luckily in this case with the caucus, they have paper backup. So hopefully not an issue. But yeah. Shelby Hall says TYT said the other campaigns bought canvassing apps from Shadow. I've used an app while canvassing before. Bad look though. Yeah, I shared that information earlier from Forbes here. Buttigieg's campaign gave about $42,000 for software rights and subscriptions. Who knows what that actually means? Biden's campaign gave about $1,000, and Gillibrand's campaign gave $37,000. So even if there is no funny business going on, that shouldn't be allowed. Like, the elections process should be handled by an independent, nonpartisan agency, like the way it is in Canada. It shouldn't be handled by these private companies. It's crazy that you can have a campaign give money to the company that's handling the app that collects this election information. Sean Geese says, thank God Bernie was prepared for this. Yeah, I know. The campaign had their own people counting at the precincts. Akemi gives me a thumbs up. Thank you. Elise Balk says Des Moines Register has more accurate numbers, including both votes and number of total delegates. But do they have any information up now? Because as far as I've seen, nobody has information except for the Sanders campaign. Devin Murray says, can we stop pretending the Yang Gang aren't enemies? A lot of the Yang supporters during the caucus went to support Bernie Sanders. No, we can definitely. It doesn't make sense to close yourself off from supporters of other candidates. I mean, if you want to win elections, you kind of have to open yourself up. Joel sends a very generous super chat. Thank you, Joel. Max Lamb says, "Boo." Yeah, I'm with you. I really hope I don't have to wait till 7 p.m. Central. Why would he go out and give a speech? And why would they say that the results are coming at 5 when the results aren't coming till 7? Or I should say 4 their time, 5 my time. Okay, here we go. CNN's reporting. Wow, that's insane. All right, this is what CNN's reporting right now. Pete 26.9, Sanders 25.1 after 62% reporting. I call bullshit on that. So we're going to keep waiting and see how the results come in. The Sanders campaign, after 60% of their precincts came in from their reporting on it. Sanders, let me show you how it compares. So this is the difference. So Sanders campaign, 60% of precincts. Bernie at 29.4, Buttigieg 24.87. CNN saying Pete 26.9, Sanders 25.1. Popular vote, Sanders 28,000, Pete 27,000. All right, we're gonna have to keep. This is clearly a close race, at least according to these results right now. I don't know why this is supposed to be where the results are, and they're not coming in. But they're here. New York Times page hasn't updated yet with these results, so I'm not sure where CNN's getting the numbers from, but that's what they have. All right, we got to. I'm gonna try to stay up to date here. So the New Yorker also has live caucus count. All right, so this appears to be. Yeah, it's weird how the New York Times page that I was looking at has no updates. Neither does this page. Unless this is not automatic. Oh, there we go. It wasn't automatic. So here we got... Yeah, so it's the same numbers, but this is much easier to read. So here we go. Buttigieg right now in the lead. You know... Okay, even though I don't trust these results, the reality is Buttigieg winning Iowa is actually, like, if Bernie can't win it, Buttigieg winning it is the best scenario because Buttigieg has no path to victory to the nomination. It reminds me a little bit of when Ted Cruz won. Let me take this audio out. It reminds me a little bit of when Ted Cruz won Iowa in 2016, and then Trump went on to win every other state. But you see Sanders, according to CNN, has higher vote totals. So we're going to have to see if these continue to come in. Like, I'm not sure what... Yeah, so this is 62% reporting. So because it's so close, this can change and reflect what the Sanders campaign has. But we're going to have to wait and see. So this is where we are right now. Pete Buttigieg in the lead. So if Bernie ends up winning this, which he very well can still win this, it's actually the best case scenario for him. Because Pete Buttigieg, as I said, has no path to victory. So him being in second, or potentially even a first, if it's this close, is fine. Because Warren in third still shows you that Sanders is the more viable candidate, and Biden in fourth shows you that he's not electable. So it actually is the only way you can make it better is if Amy Klobuchar got fourth and Biden got fifth. But otherwise, that would be the result that you want to see. And Sanders right now leading by a huge number in New Hampshire, according to every poll coming out. So we'll have to see if that trend continues, but he won New Hampshire by 20 points in 2016. So he seems to be on pace. Okay, while this is staying up, I'm hearing so many super chats come in, so let me get to some of these. Wow, it's a good thing I didn't refresh the site earlier. A lot of super chats saying refresh. Or was I here? This one should auto refresh, but let me see. Yeah, so I think this auto refreshes here. Here we go. So this definitely auto refreshes. So let me just keep up this page for now because this just refreshed by itself. Okay, so let's keep it here for now. Back to some super chats. Where was I? Carp Donnelly says Canada needs to send humanitarian democracy monitors for all elections moving forward. Need to make the world safe for democracy. Yeah, there needs to be international monitors that are watching American elections because this stuff is... How can you trust the process when this is one state? Like, imagine Super Tuesday when there's a lot of states voting. Or the general election when every state's voting. Like, this is embarrassing. And it really makes you, it makes it impossible to trust the process. Also, the fact that the Buttigieg campaign was walking back their victory speech after he had that speech last night, really shows you that they weren't all that confident in the fact that he may have won. So it makes me question these results even more. But again, this is 60%. We may see more come in and see what happens. People saying refresh your browser, refresh the site. Time Lapse says, I have a college report on why universal health care should be a constitutional right. What would your response be? Well, I haven't seen your paper, but sure, why not? It should be a right. I don't know what this link is. Sorry, Zach. Philip Hess says, refresh the page. Yes, refresh. Hey, someone sends in, I can't read this Russian name. Hey, watching your show from Moscow, Russia. Wish the political process here existed. Good luck with your show. I feel the burn from here. Thank you. The Tone Guy says, refresh your browser. Yes. I'm skipping all the refresh super chats because these are old now. Ryan Walk says, I feel sorry for those 306,000 people that bought Mayor Pete's slimy BS, an empty vessel that will say and do anything to increase his own power. Nick says, correct the... I just saw something change. Okay, it looks mostly the same. Nick says, correct the response to this mess. Donate to Bernie. Yes, donate to Bernie. BernieSanders.com/donate right now. Mind Off, thank you for your super chat. Walter, thank you. Ashtray, thank you. Robert, thank you. Mac, thank you. Zach, thank you. Zippity Day, thank you. Tyler, thank you. Jen, thank you. Matt, thank you. All people telling me to refresh the page. Jafafa Hot says Venezuela's intelligence services need to cause a coup in the U.S. so we can have free and fair elections. OS official says, what percentage chance do you give Bernie a victory at this point? I think it's 50-50. Oh, to be honest with you, I think he won. That's what I think. But we're going to have to see. Like, based on these results, like, his chance of winning these results, it's 50-50. It's really close. It's like, I don't know exactly which districts are stronger for Sanders. Like, so he's the turquoise here. So around Cedar Rapids, so Buttigieg, Biden only is viable in like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places. Buttigieg is all over. Sanders, yeah, maybe about like 40% of the state. Warren, orange, and she won nowhere, apparently. Klobuchar in a few counties. So yeah, I mean, these will keep updating, but like automatically as they were earlier. So this says 2695. This says, yeah, so these are the same results. It's almost like today's election night because now we're getting the actual results in. What an insane process. Bernie's bro says, how could Bernie's numbers be 10 points off on the spread? So it's not 10 points off. It's 4 points, 4 or 5 points off. Because the first vote is when he had 30 or 29 point something. So the realignment is what actually matters. So in the realignment, he was about 5 points ahead of Buttigieg from the Sanders count from their precincts. But like we don't know what's going on here. We don't know the differences between what the Sanders campaign has and what the Iowa Democratic Party has. So like these are the kind of results, like when it's this close at 60%, it can absolutely change. So you gotta wait. Like, there's a potential that these are larger counties, but who the hell knows? Like, these are really close as well. They haven't gone either way. Like, look at this. This one's tied. So, yeah, I don't know. A friend in Fort Madison said Pete won big at her site. Yeah, Pete obviously had some wins. I mean, he poured a ton of money into Iowa because he knows he's not viable in many states. I mean, South Carolina, he's at like 0%. He has no support. So he had to do something in Iowa to be able to maintain this campaign. That said, the idea that he's going to be able to ride to victory, ride to a nomination based off of this, no, not happening. Rob Dom says, look at rounds. Bernie should have more delegates. We're going to have to wait for the final counts. Trudy says Warren didn't get one county. Yeah, apparently. Android says, my paranoid idea is that they're releasing these partial results favorable to Pete so that he gets the primetime TV glory this evening, not Bernie. We don't know. Like, the reality is, look how incompetent the Democratic Party is, at least in Iowa, but also in general. I find it very hard to believe that they can coordinate anything because of how incompetent they are. If they were actually good at rigging results, then they would have done it successfully last night, and they didn't. So that's why I bring into question that. At the same time, I'm not saying this is over. It's at 60%. And the reality is, if like a win for Buttigieg would have meant more last night than it will today because of the way the results have come out. So even if he comes out of this a winner, again, he's not viable in most other states. He's not polling well. So a victory for Pete is the best case scenario for the Sanders campaign, except for them winning, obviously. So because you don't want Warren winning Iowa because they can't compete with a lot of the same voters, and that would make Warren a more viable candidate again. You don't want that. Biden, because he's been viewed as the front runner, you don't want him to win Iowa. So Buttigieg winning Iowa, I mean, apart from Amy Klobuchar winning Iowa, Buttigieg winning Iowa is the best result if Sanders doesn't win. I'm trying to find my spot here. Elise Bulk says, how the F? DM register as Bernie winning both popular votes. Yeah, Buttigieg getting most delegates. I keep seeing updates, but it's not doing anything. So I don't. Yeah, it's still the same. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This caucus process is super weird. Like, I don't know how you get the popular vote, but then someone else gets more delegates. Like, I mean, I guess it's because it's based on county and not based on population. I don't know. The whole process is so stupid. DVDV says Joe Biden has half the support of Bernie. Devastating. Yet, like, the real story out of this, regardless of if Bernie or Pete's in first, the real story here is that Joe Biden is not a viable candidate. He is not a viable nominee. This idea of electability, when he just got leveled in Iowa, I don't know how you can claim that Biden's going to be able to excite voters when he's not even able to excite people in Iowa at all to come out and caucus for him. I mean, Biden's not going to have any energy on the ground if he's the nominee. He's going to have no young people supporting him. Independent progressives are going to stay home. Your typical voter or your typical non-voter that doesn't come out to vote because they're disillusioned by this two-party system, they're not going to come out and support Joe Biden. They stayed home for Hillary. They'll stay home for Joe Biden. So Joe Biden is not viable. He does not bring out new people to vote. The Democratic Party needs to bring out new people to come out and vote. About 40% of the country doesn't normally vote. You have to win those people. Joe Biden does not win those people. He just appeals to the same Democratic voters that came out in 2016. You have to appeal to more people, to young people, especially. Ian Baker says Pete's victory, quote unquote, victory speech will not affect people who aren't already his supporters. Yeah, that's what I think. It looks too slimy to move anyone significantly, in my opinion. Yeah. Fahar AI sends me a super chat. Thank you. Renix said they said they'd report 50% first. They chose the 50% that would disadvantage Bernie so they could steer the narrative. Again, I don't think they're that coordinated. Clearly, these people have no idea what the hell is going on. So I don't think that's the case. Shadow DA says, I don't believe they will release more results until people have time to write false hype articles about Pete. They will milk all the momentum they can. Well, the reality is the media will jump on any opportunity they can to downplay Sanders for sure. But I don't think it's a coordinated effort. It's just incompetence. We're seeing incompetence at every single level of the democratic process. Magnus sends me several kroner. Thank you so much. So, like, when are we getting more? Are we just going to sit at 62%? Is that what's happening? Okay, I guess I can go to Twitter and see what's... Let me finish the super chats I have here. And then I'll go on Twitter and see what's happening on Twitter. Emily Grease says, I can't donate to Bernie, so here you go. Buy yourself something pretty. Thank you, Emily. Very generous. Roman says, don't be fooled by their malicious incompetence. I guess you could say it is malicious incompetence. Aaron Bart says, looks like Bernie may have won the final popular vote, but the way the delegates are distributed, I might favor Pete, similar to Electoral College. Like, the delegates out of here were never really the thing with Iowa, because there are so few delegates compared to other states that whoever has the most delegates coming out of Iowa, especially in like a 4-person race, it doesn't really matter because there's so few of them compared to other states. What matters usually for Iowa is the narrative, the mainstream media narrative coming out of Iowa. Who won it? Who has the momentum going into the next early states? Because of the way this was all just a complete debacle, it doesn't. Whoever wins Iowa here isn't going to matter as much as it normally does because of the way that the results came out. That said, if the media comes out and turns it into a huge story that Pete won, then I guess it would have an impact. But as I said, because it's so close, I mean, the real story here is Joe Biden just completely dropping like a stone. Where was I? Mohammed says, could Bernie beat Warren in Massachusetts? I think Bernie can, yes. Always Reason sends me 100 kroner. I think that's kroner. Saying they didn't rig it last night because they're rigging it now. Again, I don't think they're that competent. All right. I'll get to the rest of those later. Let's see what's going on Twitter, because there should be meltdowns. I want to see what the hell's happening. Okay, so The Hill's reporting it as a tight race between Buttigieg and Sanders, which is the correct way to report this right now. Jamal Green says, here's the truth. We won Iowa, popular vote, and delegate count. The Democratic Party knows that Iowa caucus night is a prime moment, the moment that made Obama president. They didn't want Bernie to have that steam, so rather wait till they had 100%. They released 62% to help Pete. This is heavy conspiracy here. I don't think they're that competent. If they showed some competence in the past, I would say, yes, this could be a coordinated effort, blah, blah, blah. But they're not competent. Like, they could, again, if it's showing, we'll see when 100% come in. If 100% come in and Bernie won, then you could say, okay, maybe it was, there is some behind the scenes plan here. But by how often we see how incompetent these institutions are, the idea that it was presented this way to make Pete seem like a winner a day later, when the media isn't as engaged in this race as it was while it was happening. Like, I don't think it quite plays. But let's just see how the results the results shape up. So this is, okay, breaking Iowa Democrats announce with 60% reporting. So Bernie's ahead in the popular vote, slightly behind in delegates. But that's not what it says here. Or I guess that is. So this is just the delegate count. So popular vote. Is popular vote even on this page? Yeah, so they don't even like look at the popular vote, which is kind of dumb. But, okay. Popular vote is what should actually matter here. But Sanders ahead in the popular vote. And delegate count's going to be very similar. Let's see what this clip is.
Then some round of voting, popular vote, okay? Then some candidates are deemed not viable. They didn't hit the 15% threshold in most of these caucuses. There's a next final round.
They can go to their second choice.
Yes, so they have a chance to go to their second choice. Other campaigns that are viable have a chance to woo some supporters of candidates who were not viable into their corner. So that's the second round of voting. Just note, if you look at the first round, in the popular vote, Bernie Sanders is on top. Remember, only 62% reporting. This is still coming in, so this will change. But he's on top, 27,088 votes there. Let me just isolate that Bernie Sanders vote for you. In the first round. In the final round, he increased. He's got to 28,220 votes. This last column, Wolf, is the difference there. He gained 1,132 votes between that first round and the final round of voting. First round of voting.
Yet he's behind in delegates. Okay. What a stupid process. Just doesn't make any sense. Let's see what Vox is saying here. If they have, yeah, it's all the same numbers. But I want to see here. This is what I want to see. Vote percentage. So based on votes, Sanders in the lead. Oh, so that's round one. Is this the final round? So this is the vote of the second round, or the realignment. So Sanders leading here, very close, but Sanders leading. All right, what else is happening on here? I will get to more of your super chats in a minute. Just I want to see if there's any other clips or takes that I should be sharing here. Okay, let me keep these live results up in case they update, and then take some of these super chats. So I was at, I think I finished at Always Reason. Bernie or Guillotine 2020 says, Twitter all yesterday, whole time precinct captains coming out with large Bernie and some Warren all day. No mayor cheats. How is this even believable? I don't know. Dante says, WAPO has Bernie leading at 26%. Ultra Squall says, check Washington Post. Okay, but is that the popular vote, or is that... Like, let me look up Washington Post. Again, honestly, even if Sanders wins this, like, it's it's not a huge, like, it's not, the real story here is Biden being in fourth place. Because 1 and 2 are so close, unless Sanders somehow, jumps like 5% in the last 30% of reporting. But it's a very close top tier. And because Buttigieg, like, if Buttigieg was Warren and not Buttigieg, or if Buttigieg was Biden and not Buttigieg, it would matter a lot more who's number 1 and 2. But because Buttigieg is not viable past this state, then whatever. It doesn't really matter. But, okay, let me find I don't know why I have a problem with finding the Washington Post. I want to see if they had anything on Twitter, but I didn't see anything. So, let's see what the Washington Post results say. I knew this was going to happen. It's going to make me have to, yeah. I don't think I could even look at this page without paying for them. So if that's the case, I'm not giving this paper any fucking money. Okay. Yeah, I can't look at the page because it's paywalled. So fuck the Washington Post. Back to Super Chats. Like, I don't know why they would have different results than everybody else. Wouldn't make any sense. Like, the actual, here, these are the actual results. Like, and they haven't changed. So, yeah, I don't know why they would have different numbers. Like, you all must be looking at the vote percentage, because yes, Sanders is leading with 26% in the popular vote, but this is the delegate breakdown, so they're different numbers. Don the Wolf Spirit says I can't send money, so here. Thank you for your. I think this is Kroner. Ryan Walk says Washington Post, Politico, and the Iowa site all show 62% reporting, yet all show completely different results. Really? It's probably just how it's broken down. Let me look at. I haven't seen Politico, so let me check out Politico. Okay, someone explain this to me. You look at, okay, so this is state, but the way they present it here is not a good way to present it, because here it shows popular vote 27,000 for Buttigieg, 28,000 for Sanders, yet Buttigieg at 27% and Sanders is 25%. But this is, again, the delegate equivalent. So even though Sanders has more votes, Buttigieg gets more delegates. But again, because there's so few delegates, honestly, this doesn't really matter. And because Buttigieg is not a viable candidate past Iowa, or past the early states anyway, he's going to go nowhere. So this result, I mean, again, it's all coming from the same pool of information. It's just all presented differently. I think that's what it is. This is kind of interesting. Each circle shows the difference in votes between the winner and the runner-up in a county. As a circle gets bigger, they show a larger gap between the first and second place candidates. So Bernie, big leads here. Buttigieg has he had a couple big leads, but not as big as this massive one for Sanders. And a lot of small leads. So a lot of close results for Buttigieg in a lot of counties, or a lot of districts. Interesting. So far, this is the best way I've seen all this information presented, because it gives you, Bernie, you can see this, how well he does in every county compared to Buttigieg, Warren, Biden. All right. Let me just leave this up on the side, but yeah, I'm not sure which results I should stick to. Let's stay with the New Yorker for now. All right, back to Super Chats here. Stephen Luke says Polk is the largest county and has the lowest precinct reporting, and it's where Bernie is leading by most. Okay, that's good to know. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Tobias says, what are your biggest weaknesses? Well, me personally? I have no idea. I have to sit and think about that one. Like, I'll say today my biggest weakness is that I don't have any employees. So I can't afford to pay any employees. And there's like, when there's so much information happening all at the same time, there's so much to report on when it comes to Iowa and other stuff happening. I wear myself too thin, and then it can be hard to properly report on any one topic because I'm so like, I guess I don't know what the word is, but I'm so thinned out amongst many different stories. Adam Paganini says, also pronouncing names, one of my biggest weaknesses. Adam says, happening right now, Pete Buttigieg and Joe Biden confronted by protesters first day in New Hampshire post Iowa. Really? All right, I'm down for that. Skypeck says, hi from Romania. If U.S. will not vote for Bernie, can we have him? I think every other country around the world is saying the same thing. Adon the Wolf Spirit says, Sweden also wants Bernie. So does Canada. David Ventrone says, how long before Trudeau invites Pete Guaido over to Parliament for talks about restoring U.S. democracy? Well, Guaido was just over, or calling Pete Guaido, but actual Guaido was just over visiting with Trudeau. Actually, I covered that last week with Christo Avalis. But yeah, Pete Guaido, I like that new name for him. Rob Dom says, at 28,220 votes, of 106,000 reported, Bernie has 27% of the vote. Mayo cheat has 25% of the vote, yet almost has 2% more state delegates than Bernie. Yep, that's what we're seeing. Dante, Bernie is leading. Check WAPO results. I think that's from earlier, but yeah, I can't get into the website because of their paywalling. Jeff Winslow, Des Moines Register, reporting that Hillary Clinton campaign behind Shadow app. Her former staffers, yes, worked on the Shadow app that collected the results from Iowa. Yes, that happened. Rad Pugs says, overturn both parties. I hear that. Romantic Warrior says, you know what's going on? The DNC got caught with their pants down again when they thought no one was watching. Don't know why after their debacle last time, but thanks for being fair. I Fart Magic says, please try to check chat every few minutes. I will try, but there's a lot coming at once. Shank Deep Psalm says, go to Real Clear Politics. All right, let me check Real Clear Politics. Like, since everyone's getting the results from the same pool of information, it doesn't make sense how they would change. When again, nothing has changed past the 62% of reporting. Like, everyone has the same information to work off of. It's all coming from the same source. So I don't know why the Washington Post or Real Clear Politics would have different information when it's all sourced from the same place. Yeah, so this is all of you confused right now in the chat that why is Sanders leading in some places and not other places? It's only because of the way you're looking at the information. Because Sanders is leading the popular vote. So as you see here from Real Clear Politics, if I can manage to zoom in, you have Sanders on the first vote here. With 24% of the vote. Second round, he's leading, right? This is what everyone's saying. But the Washington Post says Sanders is leading. Yeah, leading in the popular vote. That's never been in question. It's the delegate distribution. So the delegate distribution is favoring Buttigieg. Okay, it was on the other page. But yes, they haven't given any delegates yet because the final results aren't in. But that's what's favoring Buttigieg is the delegate spread. But it's like it's like a minor difference in terms of delegates. But like, I wonder, does this auto update? I don't know. So I'll just keep it here. Okay, a lot of chats coming in. I'll try to get to them. Space says cherry-picked results to give Booty an early boost. Okay. Renix says if you have the option to choose which precincts to report, you'll report the ones that you want to. It doesn't take competence or conspiracy. No, it's about who has the results in. Like, where are they finalized? Like, precincts that have a lot more people, have a lot more numbers to go through, a lot more data to go through. Those are going to take longer. Someone earlier said Polk County hasn't all come in yet, and it's a big county, so that is likely the difference. Creative Space says Buttigieg paid firm that developed the app for counting votes in Iowa. Check it out on the Washington. Yes, I discussed that earlier. Jim Mason says the DNC is repeating history. We will get another 4 years of Trump if they keep this up. In this case, this isn't really the DNC's issue, really. I mean, it kind of is, but this is the Iowa Democratic Party is the one that paid this company here. Mike Thompson says, so Pete could have the lead because coin toss wins. I did see, I think, a couple coin toss precincts, which is just crazy. The idea that you can win a precinct off a coin toss. Like, how is that democracy? Oh, my God. A lot of people giving super chats. I appreciate the generosity here. Dustin says, when do you think Biden will drop out? Probably after Super Tuesday. He'll wait till Super Tuesday, see if he picks up something there. Then if not, I don't know. I can't see why he would continue, especially if his big money backers drop out behind him. Jason says Precinct 80 captain tweeted the results last night. Bernie had about 111 and Pete had 46 or less, but they got the same amount of delegates. Yeah, I was seeing some weirdness with that stuff too, where even where Bernie was winning by a huge number, the way the delegates worked out, again, I don't get the math. It's super weird. But the way the delegate process worked out, they get the same delegates, even though there's a massive difference between who won that precinct and who lost or who got second. I don't completely get the process. Underwater Dilly says, go to DM Register to see popular vote. I already saw the popular vote and other links. Jay Dunham says, I think Bernie will win all three. They put this out hours before State of the Union, and he gets no election victory day. I don't know. Thank you for the donation. Jeff Winslow says, Washington Post reporting that Shadow App Company got money from Pete and Biden's campaigns. Yes, I discussed that earlier. Comrade Questions sends a super chat. Thank you. Shisa says, hopefully Bernie did better in the as yet unreported, more populous areas. We'll have to see. DVDV says, you won't share $1 with Bezos. Such greed. I don't get what that's referring to. I could tell you're joking, but I don't know what it's referencing. Need to Substance says, can we get Andrew Yang to do that math on this? That would be nice. Riv Mitsu says, welcome to America, where the process is antiquated and slanted and the votes don't fully matter. Regardless, cheers and keep on keeping on. 100%. Bernie or Guillotine says, doesn't require much competence to rig numbers. Look how low delegate numbers are. 62% reporting rural, 38% not reported. Are Bernie plus like Des Moines. But look, like, inherently what you're saying here. Rural places are going to be reported quicker because there's less things to count, less people there. So yes, those are going to come in earlier than more heavily populated areas. But then again, Bernie did well in all areas except for the wealthy suburbs where Pete did very well. So that's the real dividing difference, is that Sanders did very well across the board except for white wealthy suburbs where he lost to Pete. Shelby Hall says, look at how many people are on your stream. Oh my God. Thank you for reminding me. 9,000 people. That's why. Why are you all here? That's crazy. Thank you. Thank you, Shelby, for reminding me to look. Bernier Guillotine says, when the F we get in the streets, you get in the streets. I mean, you can get in the streets right now. There's probably a lot to get in the streets over, not even just about this. But this is, the Sanders movement is very engaged in the process. If there is some shady business going on and we get into the primary and we see what happens, you can bet people will be in the streets. So don't you worry about that. 24-hour Lib says, go to Real Clear Politics. David, Sanders wins. Sanders wins the popular vote. How many times must I say the information's all coming from the same place? So yes, Sanders wins the popular vote. He's down in delegates, which is what this count is right now. This is counting the delegates. So he's leading the popular vote, though. So I guess it depends what number you care more about. But yeah, again, let's wait and see. We're still only, I'm not sure when we're going to get the full results in, but it's still just 62%. So going to have to wait and see everything else coming in. Alma says, if you put your browser in private mode, paywall goes away. I've tried that. I think it tracks your IP now or something. So it's not. Other places are also reporting. I guarantee you, if I go to the Washington Post, it's just going to be the popular vote numbers. I don't know why everyone is so focused on this. Let's find out. I will try again to see if this loads. Yeah, what I've been saying. It's the popular vote. Here, let me show you. This is what I've been saying the whole time. Yes, Sanders is leading. That's based on the popular vote. That's what they're counting. Maybe that's what they should be counting. But the other places are looking at delegates. So that's the division here. Even though Sanders has more votes, Pete has more delegates. I don't exactly know why. I don't exactly understand how the math breaks out, but that's how it's because different areas have different amounts of people in them, and there's different delegates associated. So yes, you can have a scenario where someone gets a popular vote like Sanders, and Pete still gets more delegates. But because it's so close, and because Sanders is leading in the popular vote, there is a shot that Sanders will come out of this as in first place. But I don't know yet. And these numbers, again, are no different than what I've been showing you the whole time. This is the popular vote. So if you want me to keep this page up, sure, maybe I'll do that. Assuming this auto updates as well. I have no idea if it will. See what I've been saying. Sanders holds narrow popular vote lead. Buttigieg leads in delegates. So, see if this. Okay, this page should refresh. So I'll keep this page open. Back to Super Chats. Aaron says, yes, I can bypass Washington Post. What it is. And thank you for your Super Chat. Ruel James says, I used to work for Jordan Sheridan. Would love to help you out with production. Also Canadian, so that's nifty. I'm not going to have anybody working for me until I can pay them properly. So I appreciate the offer, but I don't want to, until I can pay someone properly, I'm not going to take on any employees. Jezzer Max says, yes, those are the numbers I have here. James says, you can access, yes, I know. Everyone's just telling me to go to the Washington Post, which is the exact same numbers I've been showing you the whole time, just rearranged differently. Bernie and Guillotine says, what is with amateur? Okay, I can't read this on air because of YouTube, but I don't know what's with bots in chat, if there are bots in the chat. I do have 2 mods. Maybe it's too much for them to handle right now. And they're potentially not even here. I don't know. But ignore the chat. All right. So I'm not sure. Okay, I think there's more coming in, but I'm not sure when we're getting final results here, because I'm not going to be here all night. I'm telling you that right now. It's not going to be a last night situation where I'm so glad I did not stream last night, because that would have been a mess. But let me get through these super chats, and if I can manage to get through them, manage to get to the end of them, then I'm going to log off, because I'm not sure what else I can really offer you, because we have no idea when we're going to get updates here. We have no idea when the updates are coming in. Nathan Leclerc says, interview Nomiki Konst on caucuses. Left is best. Yeah, Nomiki, or I should say Nomiki, has a new show you should check out. I should have her on the show at some point. Weather Now says, this was calculated. The DNC doesn't want Bernie. Zach Q, thank you for your super chat. Jay Hampton says, thank God Nevada won't use the app now. Yes, I agree with that. Slow Money Green, big super chat, thank you. Says, glad to finally pay up for all your great work. Thanks. Thank you so much. That is a $50 super chat. That is huge. Thank you so much. Revolution 2020 says Ray. Thank you, Ray. Don Snow says, I'm late to the show, but is voter turnout higher? Last I saw, voter turnout is about the same as 2016, but my understanding is that there is higher turnout of young people and higher turnout of marginalized or immigrant communities in Iowa. So it's actually, I mean, it actually proves Bernie's point that he's able to bring out people that don't normally vote. At the same time, though, turnout appears to be a bit lower, I think, for older voters, and potentially that has to do with the fact that the mainstream press has only been covering the Democratic primary 10% of the time compared to when they covered this last time. And a lot of that has to do with impeachment going on. So, like, I don't think it's really coordinated in the sense that, like, I don't think they're actively not covering the Democratic Party nomination. But there's impeachment going on, so that's going to take up more time when they're covering politics. Jeff from Regina says several campaigns use that developer to make apps. Okay, I guess that's potentially what the money was for. But you still should not be allowed. Like, this shouldn't be handled by private companies. Like, the election process should be an independent, nonpartisan agency that is covering it, that is doing everything, like the way Elections Canada works in Canada. So, like, even the appearance of corruption, one or two campaigns giving to this company that made the app, you cannot have that. It's absurd. DVDV says it was about not wanting to pay Washington Post access. Philip Brunson says problem going forward might be turnout for Democrats. Projected was a lot higher. Think that might be a win for Trump here. I just discussed that. Landon Gossett says, hey, Sanders is leading the popular vote. Did you know that? Yes, I did. Thank you for the big donation. Andrew Menard says, how does SDE relate to the delegates distributed? SDE. Oh, you mean state delegates? Those are the delegates. That's what that figure meant. Yeah. So again, no updates here in terms of any of these numbers. High Def Steph says 9K in the stream. You're doing the people's work. As always, much love and support. Remember, a few months ago, I said Tulsi for VP. Has your position changed on her? To make her VP? No. I don't think she should have voted president on impeachment. I think that kind of sunk her ability to be vice president. When you're going up against Trump in the general election, you don't want someone as your VP who voted president on impeachment. I'm sorry. That's her mistake. She should not have done that. That was a dumb thing to do. So, no. My top three for VP is Nina Turner, Rashida Tlaib, Barbara Lee. Those are my top three choices. Matt W. says, agree, apply Hanlon's razor. I can't say this word. But, yes, I get what you're saying. Shut Up and Listen says, seems that Yang Gang didn't really surprise anyone. Well, look, I don't want to disparage the losers here. Like, a lot of the Yang supporters went over to Sanders in many of these precincts, so I think they should be applauded for picking the correct side. Area Man says Norwegian Kroner train. Hey, what's up? Thank you. Tay Ray says the DNC will blame it on Russia. Kim Kinetic says, where's everyone purchasing their vests? Is there a local shop, or are we ironically having Amazon deliver them to us before we pitchfork Bezos? Thank you, Kim Kinetic, for your donation. The Walking Progressive says, so what matters more, delegates or a popular vote? I guess it depends how you look at it. In the case of Iowa, because there are so few delegates don't really matter in the distribution here, like at least between 1 and 2. It doesn't really matter because it's so small. The thing with Iowa is that it's really supposed to be like what sets up the rest of the race. So whoever wins it, it should give them a huge boost. Generally, typically gives them a big boost in attention and all that, in media attention. But in this case, because this whole thing was botched, whoever winds up being first here, it's not really going to help them all that much. But also depending how the media takes it. Like if Sanders becomes first, the media's going to be like, oh, of course he's first, whatever, like no big deal. If Pete is first, then maybe the media does make something out of it and say, oh, look at this, Pete Buttigieg wins Iowa, huge. So who knows how the media takes this. Again, as I keep saying, the consistent theme here out of anything is that Biden's in 4th place. Like that's the big story here, apart from this app and the whole voting process being botched, is that Biden's in 4th place. That's crazy. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Andreas Toro says, are delegates proportional to population count? They're proportional based on the precinct. So you can end up with a scenario where Sanders has higher popular vote total, but Buttigieg wins more delegates because Sanders got more populated areas. Or had more people show up to the caucus for him and wherever. But that doesn't correlate with delegates necessarily. So like we're seeing right now, Buttigieg is leading in delegates, but okay, so this kind of updated now. Let me go here. So they're saying now 10 delegates each to Pete and Sanders. So again, no numbers updated here except for pledged delegates. So if the result came out this way, then you would have 10 delegates each for Pete and Sanders. Okay, 4 for Warren, none for Biden. All right. So that's that update. I don't see that from the Washington Post. Let me refresh it. Nope. But okay. Okay, let me get through these super chats. I can't be here forever. But I could be here forever, but I can't. I gotta eat dinner, honestly. But I'm gonna get to as much as these as I can. So get your super chats in now. If you want a question or a comment, get them in right now. There's like about a minute delay, so it's 6:03 right now where I am, Eastern time. Get your questions in now. At some point, I'm gonna have to stop because I gotta get going. But let me read what I can here. Emmett says Biden likes 62%, 100% is pie in the sky, and wants to go back to 61%. I don't quite get what you're saying, but I feel like you're saying something funny. It's just not. I'm not getting it right now. Cadell says if votes by SDE percentage, then Pete would have 28,000 votes with 27%, and Sanders would have 26,000 votes with 25%. Bernie did better. Pete did worse. Yeah, if it was divided by popular vote, Bernie would have more. But again, as I said earlier, because it's so close, you will likely end up with a scenario where they're going to have the same delegates regardless. So delegate total doesn't really matter when the vote's this close. Did this update? Okay, I don't know why that number looked different to me. Losing my voice here. Okay. Jersha says, did you see the coin toss video, David? It was floating around on Twitter last night. I scrolled by it. I didn't watch it because that stuff depresses me. I did not want to see someone win a precinct by coin toss. So absurd. Francis says, I have nothing to say. I just want to give you money. Cheers from Montreal. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Francis. Ruxal sends a super chat. Thank you so much. Always Reason says, what's the reason behind Buttigieg even registering in a caucus state? Does he have a secret butt army or SMT? I don't get what you're asking. They're all going to register in all the states because they want to compete. Julius Thompson says, thank God we won't have to deal with this system in New Hampshire. Hopefully Nevada won't be using Pete's shady app. Yeah, Nevada has said they're not using it. So good news there. And I'm looking forward to New Hampshire. After Fracture said Iowa should implement ranked choice for the primaries. Ranked choice should be all around. Bernier Guillotine says, answer for you, rural areas have a higher delegate Dem ratio than cities like the Electoral College. Mayor Cheat is getting the realigned Biden non-viable. Okay, so you're saying rural areas have a higher delegate to Dem ratio than cities like the Electoral College. Mayor Cheat is getting the realigned Biden non-viable. Okay. DVDV says, David, relax. Many people here, a bit unusual. There are too many old info super chats. You're doing fine. Focus on new info chats. Yeah, take a break. Lotta says, thank you, David. Great reporting. Billy Smith says, thanks for keeping me informed. I don't have time to keep up with all this stuff on my own. No problem, Billy. Kyle Prim says, Pete Buttigieg wants to get rid of Electoral College, but the same idea is going to benefit him in Iowa. Good point. Bernie will get more votes, but 95% delegates are accounted for. Okay. That's a good point, though, yeah. Even though you should get rid of the electoral, like it should be popular vote. But the fact that, yeah, what you're saying, Pete's fighting for that, and he would lose if that was the case, yeah, totally. Lulu H says they assign less delegates to college/Bernie areas. YouTube, keep an eye on the age divide. Steve Kornacki, MSNBC, cannot load link. I don't know what the last part means. But yeah, they changed it from 2016. My understanding is in 2016, the college areas had higher delegate counts. This time they have less. Yeah. That's why you really gotta cram the system with your support for Sanders. KR1 says a word that I don't understand. Skull. And then someone else says that too. Is that a bad word? I'm not going to say it again. All right. Thank you. Let me get the last bit and then get out of here. Alma says, we like Washington Post better because it shows Bernie in first. Makes us feel better. Thanks for going live so I don't have to check the results myself. Bernier Guillotine says, reports Mayor Cheat's brother-in-law works at Shadow. Interesting. I got to look into that later. Shut Up and Listen says, here in the Yang Gang went home or establishment, though. I saw at least a few videos where the Yang Gang was joining Sanders camp or the Sanders supporters at the caucus. Prague Rocker sends a super chat saying, hey, you. What's up, Prague? And Leslie Brown says, I didn't think you could be any cuter until I saw you holding a sloth. Sloth co-host, bring back David Dill Travel Channel. That's funny. That's when I was in Peru, like 5-6 years ago now. I'm surprised you saw that. You must have dug into my Instagram. But it is public, so I can't blame you. MZ says, yo, my boy, it's Ms. Political American Matters is up on YouTube. Progressive centered on Palestine and global news. Check it out. Stay smooth, boss. That's from MZ. I guess MZ, who gave me a super chat, has a YouTube account. Check it out. You'll see their super chat in the side and their name. All right. Last refresh. This is the last refresh. Remember, there's a minute difference here, so if you're a minute behind, I'm sorry if I missed your super chat. Last refresh. Just to make sure I get the ones here. All right. Medina says, should more Canadians have an outspoken voice on American politics? You're asking me that? Should more Canadians have an outspoken voice in American politics? Sure. Wouldn't hurt. Thanks, Medina. Prague Rocker says, And thank you for the generous super chat. I mean, all your super chats have been super generous. Thank you. But Proud Rocker says, here's your answer about the difference in reporting numbers. I had seen earlier that one of the newspapers was actually involved in helping with the count. I don't know what that has to do with it, but okay. All right, you're lucky. I did one more refresh and then I'm out. Matt W says, as I said, stuff up before strategy. Hanlon's razor. Mateus N says, skull equals cheers. All right, cool. Cheers to you as well. What a great way to end. Time to go. Thank you all so much for joining me for these results. We're going to have to, again, we don't know when the final results are coming in. This is what it looks like right now. Pledged delegates for both, 10 each because it's so close. Bernie's winning the popular vote. Got to see how it all plays out. And I'm going to have a video likely tomorrow discussing all the BS with Iowa and the app and all that crap. All right. Thanks for coming, and see you next time.